All right.
All right. Well, welcome to week 18. This is the last part of the season. Um so we went 2-3 last week. I think is that our third consecutive 2-3 week? Uh
Definitely.
but we're 40, 43 and 2 on the season. So it's in order for us to get to that 500 number or exceed 500, it's going to take our best week of the season. Saving the best for last. We're going to need a 4-1 week or a 5-0 week to finish at or above 500. Um, to recap last week, Bowen with a W had the 49ers minus 13. So improved your record, your individual record to 11-5-1. I think the big play in that game for us was the Sam Howell getting picked off at the 49ers 2-yard line. Early in the fourth, it's a 20-10 game. If they punch that in, we're probably not covering that number. But they get the pick, end up scoring another touchdown, extended their lead to 27-10. And that was truly the difference in that one. But a bit surprising to see how close the Commanders kept it up to that point. Especially given the changes at quarterback. Howell was taken out, he was benched. Brissett ends up having a step out due to the hamstring injury. Howell goes back in. But good to get the cover and another good win for you. Any thoughts on the game?
Really, no. I mean, you covered everything. It was a little bit underwhelming. Thought they'd come out with a little bit more punch. Um, let the Commanders kind of hang in there, but um, you know, 17-point win. Can never hate on that. So
Nope.
yeah, yeah.
Um, and then I was on the Rams minus 5.5. We lost on a punt return touchdown. And
It was Gunner, right?
yeah, and that kind of just says all you need to know. Um, I just felt like a perfectly fitting way um for us to go from covering the number to not covering the number. And just being dead. Um, so what are you gonna do? Didn't think it was that bad of a read. I did think the Giants kept it closer than I thought they would. But definitely frustrating to just see the cover disappear in a play like that. Would rather have had the Giants had to earn it with a long drive, but so I dropped below 500, 8-9 on the season. I don't know. Either of you guys pay much attention to that game? Any thoughts on it?
No, I mean, I was actually just, I knew that we didn't cover, but I was stunned to find out that that was how it happened. So I really wasn't watching it closely. But I mean, it really is just like, what are you going to do? Just total freak play.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's just tough to go from covering the number to all of a sudden you're out of it on that because, if that doesn't happen, completely different game. So, chalk it up to just football being football.
Yep.
Did
Uh,
uh did
yeah.
Darius Slayton have another like 80-yard touchdown?
Yeah, it was like a 70 or 80-yard bomb.
That
Yeah, I'm
he
pretty
keeps doing
sure
that.
there
Keep
was
doing
like wasn't I think it was for last week, wasn't it? That there was like a Reddit post, or maybe that was 2 weeks ago. But the guy had like a dream that Darius Slayton put up 18 points in PPR,
Yeah.
and I think he put up exactly 18 points. It was like some crazy shit like that. But yeah, I guess Darius Slayton's been the playoff hero, but he's also been pretty good.
Yeah,
For what they have for passers in New York, he's actually been a pretty solid receiver, like for his whole career.
Yeah.
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 So those two plays right there being 14 points is always tough. I mean,
Yeah.
that's yeah. Can't win with it usually.
Yep. And then Kieran got the win. Broncos minus 3.5. It was interesting. I mean, we were talking about that game last week. I think we were excited to kind of see, Stidham with some of those weapons, and then like most of them were out.
Yeah.
It was like Mims was out, Sutton was out. So he was kind of down to Judy, and then We kind of called it, we talked about it. They were going to have to lean on those running backs as pass catchers more, which I think we saw. But I think the offense maybe a little bit underwhelming relative to what we thought we might get, but that defense stood tall. And I think they handled business much in the way we expected they would. So 16-9 win. Got the cover. Kieran, any thoughts?
No, I mean it was a pick that I felt like I kind of had to make.
Yeah.
That was like my big prediction for the year that Stidham would eventually start, and he did. And I mean, I watched the game a little bit, and I actually thought he looked pretty good. It was just, like we said, all these weapons we were expecting to see were unavailable, and little Jordan Humphrey had the big play, but I do think that they would look much better if they had Sutton, Mims,
Yeah.
whoever else. So I do think that that would be helpful. But I mean, Stidham had the throws there too. I think Bowen, you and I were texting about it, and I was saying it's like he had the looks. It was to start the game. I think he was just maybe a little rusty or just getting loose, and it was his first start. So I mean we'll see how they play moving forward. I do think it would be an interesting storyline. He could possibly they're a little too good to have a draft pick to get a quarterback. I mean, maybe they go out and get a guy like Cousins, or maybe Stidham is actually the starter going into camp. So I'm interested to see how they play out the rest of this season and then what they do moving forward. But yeah, I mean, 7-point win. It wasn't really an exciting game, big offensive game, but it was a good win.
Yep. And then Sunday night, we were on the wrong side of that one. We had the
Yeah.
Vikings -2, and they just got dominated. Never good when they have to make a QB change and go from their number 4 quarterback to their number 3, back to their number 3. But Packers just look dominant, look significantly better. And the Vikings really just had nothing. We were kind of out of that one from the jump. So we dropped to 8-9 on the season on our Sunday night picks. Any takeaways from that game?
Yeah, I mean, they looked a little bit better when Mullins came in, but it was just too little, too late. One of those. I mean, if he gets a start, who knows? How the vibe of the game goes. But by the time he came in, they were just totally dead. I guess KOC saw something in Jaron Hall, but he absolutely had nothing going on. That was terrible.
Or maybe he didn't, and it was I was talking to a buddy of mine who's a Vikings fan, and I was like, it almost felt like it could have been a situation where it was kind of just intending to not win let's put him in, probably don't have a chance of winning, don't really have a chance of making the playoffs, but he was so bad it almost seemed over intentional in
Yeah.
terms of trying to fucking take I mean it was embarrassing, if
I
they
was actually,
if they had sent him out for
yeah,
the second half, it's like how do you take him seriously at that point? It was awful.
that was actually my only point on this game was it felt like Vegas. The line was 2, right?
Yeah.
It felt like Vegas kind of took us to the cleaners on that one. I think they knew how. I don't know. It just felt. I feel like that number just stuck out to me so much, in the planning of it all, and when I was looking at the picks last week, and it just I feel like we got duped a little bit because it just the 2 number doesn't make sense in the context of Jaron Hall, but we all kind of just got swept up in it, and
Yeah,
like you
but
said,
I thought
Kieran,
that's
like
kind of
we
why we
thought we
liked it,
thought
right? Because
KOC
it was Jaron Hall
saw
starting. It's
something in
trappy.
it.
Yeah.
Right.
But was it like a reverse trap line?
I
Yeah.
think it was. I feel like it was. The game was like 14-0, like before I even sat
Yeah.
down. I was like, oh my god, like that line's dead. Like there's no way. Like Jaron
Yeah.
Hall is not a play from behind quarterback. He might not even be a quarterback at all. In the NFL. I didn't see much there. I mean he had one throw that was like high school football looking like
Oh my
form.
God, that throw was unbelievable. I know
That
exactly
he
the one that
sailed it.
came out like a duck.
It
Yeah.
literally he caught a flyer out of his hand almost, and it just went forever. But
They got O'Connell's reaction on it too, and he was just like, "What the fuck was that?" Like
yeah,
that was brutal. I think he was trying to hit Jefferson over the middle, and he had him. Um, but yeah, that was
that was
I
brutal.
was not that anybody cares, but just a little side note on that too. in my St. Paul's league, Karen and these guys, Sharky and Woody were facing each other at the championship, and Sharky had Jefferson going into that game, and he was down like 3.8 points. So all he needed was 39 yards. And that first half, obviously, like, I mean, it was, we had a group text going, and Sharky was just dying a slow death watching this guy try and throw the ball to Jefferson. Best thing that happened was they brought Mullins in, and Sharky ended up getting it. So he won, which was good because I would have thrown up everywhere if Woody won again. But,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Michael Penix is a Viking for sure. I see it.
You see it?
And I think so. Mid first round is he'll probably be there.
Is it the
I
color?
think in Atlanta for him.
I think, dude. You see the Jaden Daniels video that I sent you, Kieran?
Yeah.
Well, with him and neighbors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Going to the Saints. I could see
Is that
it.
possible though? Like, do they even have first rounders?
Who?
The Saints. What picks do they even have? They just seem like a team that just
They
like
must
wouldn't have
it,
first for some reason.
They're in like salary cap hell every year
Yeah.
and just never have their first.
Yeah, they just seem like a team that would just like be careless with like what they did 3 years ago with their first now. All right, they got the 13th pick.
Penix could, Daniels probably won't be there, I'm assuming, but who knows? A lot
Mock
of teams trading out of that top.
13th pick.
CBS has Jaden Daniels going to the Falcons with the 9th pick. And then they have Michael Penix Jr. going to the Broncos with the 14th pick.
Interesting.
That's interesting.
I mean, for the Vikings, I'd like it because Penix, like, who knows, but like the one thing that he is good at, he's good at placing the ball. So it could be good for some fantasy receivers. But
they've got the Patriots.
he's old. He's got that injury. It's weird.
They got the Patriots taking Drake May.
I love that.
Do you?
Oh
Is
yeah. I've been on the Drake May train. Like that's been like my thing. Like,
Oh, really?
oh yeah, Drake May's my QB1.
Oh. You
Caleb
wouldn't
Williams, he's football Ben Simmons. That's Caleb Williams. That's
you
what
wouldn't
Hey.
want you wouldn't want like a Jaden Daniels?
I mean, I'd fuck with Jaden Daniels, but I like Drake May a lot.
Yeah.
Hey, also, I think teams are going to be terrified of getting fleeced by Ryan Poles and trading into that one spot. I think Marvin Harrison 1-1 is such good value. I think
Oh, I
you're
love
plus
that.
1,600 in what I sent. I think teams are going to be terrified of getting fleeced, like a team did just last year for fucking Bryce Young.
Is he still at
I think the
16?
Bears just take the pick.
Is he
And I
still
think they go Marvin Harrison. Huh?
Is he still at 16-1?
That's what it was this morning. I'm gonna have to check FanDuel.
I mean, the thing I would say is I feel like you got to take that before Sunday's game, because if Fields comes out and throws up like another W and another great game, like
I think he's already got it. I almost feel like this game would just be like a cherry on top. I've been kind of like pushing that like the last couple of weeks. Like I just feel like they're gonna stick with him like 100%.
he's 15-1 on. I feel like we should get in on this.
Bro,
I
I
was
just think
sprinkling on.
teams are going to be terrified of trading for that 1-1. Nobody wants to get caught holding the bag like that again. The Panthers literally just blew their franchise up for Bryce Young.
Yeah, I mean it depends. I'm looking at teams now because like, I mean who knows? Who knows? I mean like the Giants, they're at the 5 spot right now. Like they could be looking to jump and like try and get their quarterback but like beyond that, it's like the Chargers, the Titans. The Jets, I don't think they're making a play at quarterback, and then maybe the Falcons at 9, and then you got the Bears at 10. So it's like there's really not many fringe teams that could be trading into it. So it's like anybody else that's trying to trade up would have to like really give something up.
I
Yeah.
don't think if Belichick's still there, I don't think he'd trade up to 1,
I mean,
regardless of
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like maybe the Pats want to like jump if they get stuck at 3, or maybe they win this week and they get bumped down to 4 or 5, and then maybe they have to like make the jump. So it's like that, like depending on how the Pats do this week, that could change things. But yeah, it's like I mean, like I think the Cardinals. I mean, I think Jonathan Gannon just like said it this week. Like Kyler Murray is their QB1. So it's like I
Mhm.
think that they're not making a play at quarterback. So there's Washington, there's the Pats, and then like I said, there's the Giants, maybe. And then after that, it's like there's really nobody besides the Falcons at 9.
Well,
I could see the Commanders really just going for it with new ownership. Just be
Yeah.
like, I don't
I
care
mean,
what
you
it
know,
costs.
there's,
You
after
got to
10,
sell tickets.
there's the Raiders at 11, then the Vikings, Saints, Broncos, Seahawks. So it's like, I mean, I guess like maybe there are some teams there, but like they're gonna have to give up a lot to move all the way up there.
Ton.
yep.
I mean, honestly, what if like the Raiders traded like Devontae Adams and something to get that first pick? Go from 11 to 1?
Um,
Uh,
All the
uh,
would they do that?
I don't know, maybe. I think doesn't Devontae
I mean,
Adams like
do they need to though?
maybe. I mean, these guys what would like the DeAndre Hopkins, he signed, right? He didn't get traded. I'm trying to think what like guys like him go for. I mean, he's gonna be like a 31-year-old receiver and he like
Yeah.
wants out.
No,
I
but
think him and the Jets
I'm
just
just
make
thinking of like, do they have to trade up to get a QB? Like if
The
there's a mock,
Raiders?
yeah, if there's a mock that has Penix going at 14 and the Raiders are picking 11, like, they might be able to get him, or they may not need to trade all the way up to 1.
Yeah, but like I mean like history wise, like that's really like not a great pick to make. Like I mean, like you really want to try and get like one of those top guys. Like it's like I mean, I guess like if you want to like wait around and like maybe be able to get the QB4 in the draft and
Yeah.
so like I do think that there's a big gap between Caleb Williams, Drake May. I think Jaden Daniels is like up on that fringe, but I do think there's a big gap after that with Penix. I mean, like he's having a great year this year, but this is what
Yeah,
like
yeah.
sixth year in college. He's had 4 season-ending injuries.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like who knows. So I mean, I think when you're looking at like Williams and May, they're much younger. They have like a much better pedigree as prospects. So it's like there is a big difference. So
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I think that it's a play. It could be a play worth making, and then I'm just like kind of like looking at like the teams that could potentially make a trade up, and that's a team at 11.
Hmm.
And we're talking about the Bears maybe wanting to get Marvin Harrison. Well, maybe they just want to have Devontae Adams, DJ Moore with Justin Fields. Could be
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah, that's not a bad. That could be, yeah, that's an interesting, yeah, I could get down with that. If it's more of a win now type of deal.
Yeah, I'm just looking for teams that could like maybe trade up, but it's like there's really not many in the top 10.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, all right, and then all right, last game we got to talk about from last week. So this was our Monday night game, but it was played on Saturday night. Was the Cowboys and Lions. Great game. Obviously crazy, crazy finish. We had the Cowboys minus 5.5. You know, we were actually covering. And interesting enough, like Cowboys got the ball. So they got a pick late I think it was a pick late in the fourth. Um, they were deep in Lions territory after the turnover, but then they had a tripping penalty on first down that made it 1st and 25. And that just kind of took them out of like at that point, I think they were just playing to get a field goal and shorten the distance there. But they got the field goal, put us in the spot to cover. Lions marched down the field, in about a minute and a half, score the touchdown. Obviously, there was all the drama with, going for two. Even when they got backed up, at that point, Dan Campbell was just committed. And we did not get the cover. So the loss dropped to 8-8-1. Yeah. Any thought? I mean, kind of felt like a bit of a coin flip in terms of covering the game. We were there. We were on the right side, with a minute and a half left, and just Lions found a way to make it happen at the end.
I'm just happy that a primetime game in the NFL this year, like, actually felt like a prime, like that game felt like a primetime game. It played out very dramatic, like a primetime game, or what you kind of hope, those standalone games are. So great game. Kind of forgot we even had the Cowboys because I got wrapped up in my own Amon-Ra St. Brown's kind of stuff, and a few other things going that night. So it all just kind of happened. And I was actually with Kieran at the Brewfish. Out at the Brewfish,
Yeah.
had a delicious dessert.
Yeah, we got
But
all three.
What
yeah,
way?
the vibes are high. Like the vibes are high, and
What were the desserts?
tough loss.
What
But
was the dessert lineup?
I think we got one of
I don't
everything
know.
a little
They
bit.
had three specials, but they were out of one. So we got two of those. One was like a chocolate cake flan.
Hmm.
Another one was like an apple cinnamon bread pudding, I believe.
Hmm.
And then I think we got a
Tiramisu.
tiramisu,
Yep.
Very
Yep.
nice.
little sampler.
Yeah.
Yep.
Very good.
Yep. Yep. Have to.
Um, all right, so that's the recap. So we had to week 18. Just some programming notes. I think we agreed that the Saturday night game, which is the Texans and the Colts, that's going to be our Monday night game since there is not a Monday night game. And then the Sunday night game is now the Bills and the Dolphins. So that'll be that pick. Should we go to the wheel?
Do it.
Yeah.
All right.
Here we go. Tristan.
Oh, Jesus. Wow. Um, all right. Well, I'm actually going to take the first game on the slate. Um, I'm taking the Steelers -4, the Ravens. Baltimore's locked into the 1 seed. They're resting their starters. I do like what Pitt has going right now with Rudolph. I think it's been interesting to follow, like, just some of the noise around Kenny Pickett. There were some rumors that he refused to back up Rudolph last week, which is why he was inactive. He came out, had to kind of speak on it this week, say that wasn't the case, say that it is going to be the backup this week. But just feels like that offense as a whole is just running a lot, but like the run game seems better. I feel like Najee Harris is running the ball better. The last couple of weeks, he looked great last week. Pass game seems like it's opened up. Pickett's, really been getting going. The Steelers need some help. They've got some scenarios that allow them to get in. I think the cleanest one for them is if they win and the Bills lose on Sunday night. That's probably the easiest path for them to get in, but they're there, and I think they've got a great opportunity here. It's the first game on Saturday. They can kind of set the tone, for the weekend and kind of put, a little bit more pressure on some of the other teams to take care of their business. So I like the Steelers here -4. I think it's a good line, given the circumstances, given their level of motivation, perhaps lack thereof for Baltimore. So that's my pick.
I like having two games on Saturday. That having those early is gonna be getting right into it. I like the pick. You already touched on everything that I would have said about the game. Didn't really have it on my card. Kind of looked past it just because of the starters. For the Ravens, it's just kind of a wonky one, I guess, division game. But yeah, I think the biggest thing that you highlighted already was just the run game, and the offensive line. They're really opening up holes. Like Najee isn't the most explosive guy, and he's getting through that first level, getting to the second level pretty much untouched, and that's where he becomes a real problem. Really hard to take down on the open field. When he can get there and not just kind of get bottled up at the line. So yeah, if he's clicking and Jalen Warren can get, be the change of pace back for them, they really unlock a different part of their offense and take a lot of slack off the receivers to have some space to make plays. So yeah, I like it. Huntley's going, obviously, right? For the Ravens.
Yeah, I
So
believe so.
Yep.
Tyler Huntley, I mean, we know who Tyler Huntley is. They know who Tyler Huntley is, so I'm sure they'll be ready. Like you said, have a reason to play still. I like the pick.
I actually had the Ravens +4 as my number one pick. I must be honest.
Whoa.
Oh,
As your number one?
Yeah, they were my number one pick. Yeah. Um,
Oh.
I mean, the way I was looking at it was, to me, the success that the Ravens have had over the years with John Harbaugh in the preseason actually feels kind of relevant to me here. They are going to be playing a lot of backups, but what is it? Was it a winning streak or was it just an against the spread cover streak? I'm not sure, but they were like the best preseason team forever for like 10 years. I
Yeah,
don't
of all time.
know.
Yeah.
Tyler Huntley, yes, we do know what he is, which is a Pro Bowler. He did make the Pro Bowl last year. We cannot forget that. But yeah, I just feel like
Is that after like 8 guys dropped out?
yeah, yeah. But he made the Pro Bowl.
Mac Jones made the Pro Bowl too.
Yeah, he hit the gritty.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, to me, it just felt like, I just don't think that the Steelers have the juice to get into the playoffs. And I feel like, yes, like they are playing for something, but that doesn't always mean that the team comes through. I just feel like maybe this is the time to go against Mason Rudolph. He has been playing well to start off, his time taking over. But yeah, I just feel like the Steelers don't have it this year. And like I said, I just feel like the Ravens, like, yes, they are going to be resting all their guys. But, to have a good team and a team that's playing this well, you also do have to have some good depth. So I think that the backups can play some good football. So that's why I was on it. And then I just saw some interesting stats too, where like the Ravens, they're 20-4 against the spread. Their last 24 as a dog. And when Tomlin and Harbaugh play, the underdog is 23-5-2 against the spread. So I was just looking at this game, and to me it was just pointing towards Baltimore, but you beat me on the wheel.
All right. Steelers.
Let me flip back to my picks. I'm scrambling now. I gotta figure out what I want. Hold on, let me
I feel like it's very rare that we've had differing.
I don't know if
differing,
they've had
picks at that
opposing
level.
number 1 picks. Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, here we go. Oh wait, hold on.
You got to take me out of there, right?
Yeah, I think
Damn, you got mad wheel love, Tristan.
no, I clicked. Yeah, that is. I
Nothing
clicked
bugs
on
you.
that was the other wheel.
Yeah, I think I had the number 1 pick last week, right? Maybe the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Bowen.
Perfect. I love the Titans plus 3.5. I feel like it's been a thing that I think Kieran especially has been always kind of about the Vrabel home dog. He always got his guys ready to play. I like the spot for them. He had Vrabel had a very fiery press conference early this week with some reporters saying how it fucking sucks to lose. Was not having it. He's not a guy that seems to care about draft position. It seems that they have their guy in Will Levis for the future. So they're not by any means trying to lose this game. DeAndre Hopkins has like 4 incentives that can cash if he gets like 5 catches for like 60 yards and a touchdown or some shit like that. So he's going to be playing hard. Derrick Henry always plays hard. And I think they can, cover that number. Like the hook. I don't think the thing have they even won in the past like 6 weeks?
I think they blew out the Panthers last week, but that was coming off of like a big losing streak.
Yeah.
I feel like they just in every game that they need to win this year, they've just really haven't, been that team. I kind of see them just faltering here. Think the seat gets a little bit warmer for that coaching staff down there. Trevor Lawrence, I feel like will try to go. I think I saw a report on him this morning that he was throwing the ball. I don't know to what extent. And he seems like one of those guys that even if it's not for the betterment of the team, will play because he's just kind of a nut like that.
That's like his thing. They were talking about that on the broadcast a game or two
Yeah.
where he like hasn't missed a game since high school or anything like that, except for the COVID game in college.
Right. So, I think there's a chance that he's playing at like 75%. Who knows what percent? And I just think in a division game like that, I think Vrabel could come out with a outright win.
So this was my number 2 pick.
I had a feeling.
That's unbelievable.
I really did.
One thing, it was I think, but today is Derrick Henry's birthday, so coming off a birthday weekend, going to be good vibes for him. One thing that I think you left out, Tannehill's getting the start. This is Tannehill's last start as a Titan, and it's at home. He wants to put good tape out there, and I think he just wants to go out on a high note. And a lot of Titans fans, for some reason, I get suggested the Titans subreddit like all the time. Titans fans still love Tannehill. They are still like loyal to him. They still feel like, you know what, he came in and he gave us stability when we needed it. We owe him everything, blah, 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 all that stuff.
That's
So
some loser talk, but that's besides the point. Yeah.
yeah, but it's like they want him to go out on a high note, and I think that he will. And I think that everyone's going to come together. It's like you said, Vrabel's tired of losing. It's Tannehill's last start as a Titan at home. It's Derrick Henry's birthday weekend. DeAndre Hopkins has all these incentives to cash. I think that they have everything to play for. I think the Jags are a little bit fraudulent, and I think we're going to get some drama in the division between the Jags losing outright and then also this Titans Colts game. I think that things could get a little interesting with all that. So yeah, that's why I like the Titans. I love them here.
The yeah, this division and the NFC South, there could be a lot of chaos this weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be really, really interesting to see kind of how this all plays out, because obviously that Houston, which we're going to talk about, but the Houston Indy game, the winner of that game, is in. But then I think if the Jags lose, the winner of that Houston Indy game becomes the division champ, and the Jags could be out, and they could get replaced potentially by the Steelers. So there is a lot of drama, and then obviously with the NFC South, there's a number of scenarios that are pretty wild. So, yeah, I had the Jags. They were my number 3 pick. I just kind of feel like Tennessee's dead at this point. I think last week was a good bounce back game for the Jags. It was much needed. Obviously against a significantly inferior opponent. But at this point, they now control their own destiny. They got to take care of business against a team that's 5-11, has no motivation. They can just kind of close the door on any wild playoff scenarios. So I like the Jags here, but I don't, I support the pick. I'm with it. I'm with you. Let's go.
Yeah, I mean, for what it's worth, I'm just looking at the Titans' last 5 games up until last week's blowout loss to Houston. They were 1-3, but they were all one-score games. So like they were playing teams close. I think that last week it was just Levis really shouldn't have been playing. I mean, they have such a bad offensive line. He's coming back from an ankle sprain. They really should just shut him down for the season, whether that's official or not. But putting a guy with a bad ankle, so you're limiting his mobility against a line that's not going to stop the pass rush is just a bad idea. And it just resulted in tragedy.
Yeah. All right. Titans plus 3.5. Back to the wheel.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
All right.
That'll always kill me.
So what's actually interesting is that the pick I'm about to make is what I wanted to be my number 1 pick, but I didn't want to make the pick. So I actually
Love
moved
that
it
we got you back there. I love that we got you there.
Exactly. So it works out that both of you guys took my top 2 picks. This is a pick I never thought I'd make.
Oh my God.
But much like last week, when I talked about my predictions and I talked about how I kind of had to make that pick just to back up my Stidham prediction, I've been talking about this forever. I've been saying I think that it would be the most New York Jets thing ever.
Yes.
To beat the Patriots for the first time since 2015, help us solidify our high draft pick, which helps us draft our quarterback of the future, which terrorizes them for the next 20 years. Because of that, I am taking on the anniversary, the weekend anniversary of Belichick signing with the Jets and resigning with the Jets. I'm taking the New York Jets plus 1.5.
I love it. That's my favorite pick of the year.
I love it too. I actually thought about that as I was looking at the board, and I thought to myself, I don't think I can make that pick, but if I had to, that's the pick I'm making. Because it is. I think you just said it. It will be the most New York Jets thing. Belichick has been a master at, we talk about this every week, like the master of the tank. But I think this is a week where he's got to take his foot off the gas and he's got to make sure that he doesn't go from picking second or third to like fifth or sixth, right? Like you
It's a
kind of
big
can't,
difference.
you can't win this game.
Yeah, because it's like they can get out of it clean. Like if they do win, like there are scenarios and everything, but if they lose, they
Yep.
are just guaranteed top three. There's nothing to worry about. If they win, I was looking at it, I think, if I'm reading everything correctly, I think that they could potentially drop to like fifth. Like it's like why leave it up to chance? Just put it away. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. Like, I think the Jets are going to come out, and it's like, when you see like one animal seeing like another wounded animal or something, it's like they're going to take advantage of it. They see an easy win here, and they're just going to come in. It's probably going to be like 13-6,
Yep.
some shit like that. Probably 9-6. I don't know.
Brees Hall breaks like a 90-yard run, and then they kick like 2 field goals and win the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
That,
mean, the way that he's been tweeting, like he's like really motivated, Brees Hall.
I was just gonna say that I might actually lay, like, he might be my guy for props this week, where I may just do a parlay with like an absurd Brees Hall game.
he's like
Uh,
the only guy that can. Is Simeon still like starting?
I think I saw that Zach Wilson's like still out or still in concussion protocol or something like that. I didn't even
That's
know he was
that
in concussion
Simeon
protocol.
makes me nervous. Simeon makes me nervous because he's god awful.
Yeah.
I mean, at
He
this
does.
point, there's no point in starting Wilson, you know?
No,
Yeah.
he's gone.
I think this is going to be one of those games. It's going to be all defense. I think that there's probably going to be like a special teams touchdown or something.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm thinking like a 9-6 win or something like that.
Mhm.
I like it. I love the pick. That's the pick of the year for me. That really is.
Like I
I
said,
love
I never thought I'd make that type of pick, but
Just for the Jets to guide the patch to Drake May or Caleb Williams and our franchise is back. That would just be perfect.
exactly.
Drake May or Caleb Williams become like a top 5 quarterback in the league immediately type shit. It's uh it's a dream.
I like it.
All right.
Sunday night game, Bills and Dolphins.
Yep.
I love it. Very excited for this game.
All right. Back to back.
Man,
We love
I thought I was gonna get the wheel again.
and it was
No,
looking like it.
That's close.
I'm going with the Dolphins +3 here. Um, it's just another one where I feel like everyone's just going to be piling on the Bills, piling on the Bills. Like, oh my God, they're going to do this. That just seems too easy to me. I just, it's kind of crazy to me. They're coming in, I understand there are some injury concerns from the Dolphins here, but the Bills are going to Miami, and they are 3-point favorites. I just feel like that's kind of a disrespectful line to the Dolphins. Um, I think the Dolphins deserve better. I think that they've been the better team all year, and I understand that the Bills have been very hot. But I feel like the Dolphins deserve the win here. I think that they're going to prove that they are the better team. They are the division winner here. I think they're above the wild card. So I think that they're going to pull this out. I think that a lot of people are expecting the Dolphins to choke in a primetime game. I did see something. It's like the Bills have been like the worst primetime team against the spread, in the last 2 years. So I feel like that it's going to be the public feeling a little misinformed and thinking that like the Bills are the hot team. They're going to come in. They must get the win. It has to happen. Zig when they zag, the house always wins. I feel like this is where Vegas is going to cash out on the Dolphins.
I'm I'm on the Bills. Um, I am concerned about Miami's injury issues. It does feel like they're really starting to pile up. Um, even watching video of Tyreek Hill standing outside of his home up in flames, he's in a walking boot. I know it's probably precautionary. Jalen Waddle's got some issues. Raheem Mostert's got some issues. They just lost, was it Chubb?
Yeah, Chubb.
To an ACL injury. That's another defensive guy down. It just kind of feels like things are unraveling a little bit for the Dolphins at the wrong time. Now they're running into a team that's won 4 straight, 5 of their last 6. just feels like there are some vibes coming out of the Bills camp. That it feels like they're coming in to steal this thing. And I like the Bills here. I don't know, Bowen, what do you got?
Um, I, for starters, I think it's a very, very close game. Whichever side we end up having, I think that number is going to be really, really tight. I think it's a field goal game. Uh, I think it's going to be relatively low scoring. Even though the injuries on defense.
You're burying the
Um,
lead, pal.
no, I know, I know. I'm
Well, I'm
truly
curious
torn
because
on
he
it.
just said something that I feel like should be an indication of where he's going.
What was it? Let's see if we could snuff it out. What did you hear?
Well,
I
he said it should be a field goal game, so I feel like that makes the pick obvious.
Yeah,
Which is he's taking
so
the points?
no, it's the classic. Like my head's telling me one thing, my gut's telling me another. Don't know why or how, but I think the Dolphins, even though they're shambles, just covers. I don't know. It's gonna be. I think it could be like a Lions Cowboys type score, like 20-19 or whatever that ended up being, or one of those wonky endings. Um, so yeah, give me the Dolphins with the points. Just want the points in a game like this, or what I think the game is going to be.
All right, got the Dolphins.
But I do think the Bills could just like squash them. But no,
Yeah,
no,
I mean,
no.
if the Bills are like the team of destiny, then of course they're going to come in and like stomp them and then like go on like a crazy run. But I mean, yeah, one thing that you said, Tristan, is like you said, oh, I feel like they're going to come in and seal it. But the thing is, like, I agree. Like, if they came in, like, they would literally be stealing the division from the Dolphins, and they'd be doing it at home. But it's like to do that and be favorited in the game. It's like something just feels off to me with that. But yeah, to me, this just feels like a huge public spot for the Bills, and for that reason, especially in prime time, um, yeah, it feels too easy for Buffalo here.
All right, we'll go Dolphins. Let's do it.
Oh boy. The Tyreek Hill outside of his house in a walking boot actually is hilarious, though. That was one thing. That
He's
was I
playing
like I
inspired.
saw the boot and I started dying.
I'm like, I was like watching the video and I'm like, oh Jesus, that's a walking boot. I'm taking the Bills.
It's crazy. Just a crazy visual.
No,
Crazy
Yeah,
visual.
he's inspired. That's all it is. He's got something to play for now.
yeah.
Oh, and one thing that I wanted to mention too
Yeah, he's
is
got to
that
buy a new house. He's got to
he's
get
like, I mean,
2,000 yards, and he's got to, parlay that into
I was gonna
bonuses.
say, he needs to get like 260 something yards or something, but I don't know. FanDuel has like listed up to like 175. I feel like he is gonna, put up a ton. Obviously, that's like almost impossible for him to get, but it could be interesting playing the like way higher props.
One like 75-yard touchdown though in the first quarter, and all of a sudden,
Yeah,
you never
exactly.
know. You
Yeah,
never know.
you're right in it, right?
Yeah,
All right, let's
it's always right there with Tyreek.
bone.
All right. This is the uh this is the Chiefs Chargers. No,
No,
No, Texans Colts.
Texans Colts.
the Monday. I was thinking about what game was being played on Monday night,
Thanks.
so
Last
I
for
game
went
of
to
the
the
year.
Circa page, and it was the last game. Um,
Yeah, no, it is the Saturday night game, but
1.5, right? The line.
uh,
Yeah, Texans 1.5 point favorite.
All right. Colts plus 1.5. Texans are super banged up. CJ's back. Definitely makes a difference, but I like what Steichen's doing with that offense. Seems like they're playing for him. And that coaching staff. Uh, Texans are like I just said, they're really banged up on both sides of the ball at this point of the season. Think they might just run out of gas. D'Amico's awesome. Had a great season, but I think against a Colts team that's kind of finding its groove. They haven't looked great the past few weeks, but they're a team that's always in it. I like them just to win outright and kind of muddy the waters for the playoffs. But they're not winning, they're in, right? They need somebody to lose. The Colts,
Who's
the
that? The
Steelers.
Colts?
no, I think this game's winning in.
This is a
Oh,
win and
okay.
in game. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a win and in, and
And they're all tied in the division too. So like if the Jags do lose, then the winner
yeah,
of this game gets the division.
yeah,
Like they're all 9-7.
yeah.
I think the Colts pull it off. I'm a big Steichen guy. I'm really high on him. So think they pull this game out. Texans, two rookie head coaches going for the playoffs. It's kind of a toss up, but like like the Colts.
Kieran?
I like the Colts too. I agree with you, Zach. I mean, I think that Stroud being back obviously is much better than Case Keenum or Davis Mills, but I think the real factor, at least it seems to be, and maybe Stroud is just still banged up, and that's maybe why he's struggling. But I think that they're just really missing Tank Dell. I'm looking at Stroud's passing stats, and I know that he left the Jets game with a concussion, but he still played. I checked; it was 80+% of the snaps, so he still got pretty deep into the game. In the 3 games he's played since Tank Dell's been out, he's averaging 193 yards per game and less than a touchdown per game.
Hmm.
On the season, he's averaging 275 yards per game. So,
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty big difference. And that's in over a touchdown a game, like a touchdown and a half a game. So he's
Hmm.
really been struggling. And I know that Nico Collins has been hurt a little bit as well. So yeah, I just feel like the Texans, they're maybe running out of gas here. I think that the Colts are maybe a little more better equipped. And I agree. I think that Steichen's a really good coach. I think that he could be a coach of the year candidate as well. So yeah, I think that they're playing well. I think that Minshew with that veteran experience too, I think he can step up a little bit. And I think that it's time for him to have a moment in the playoffs. So I like the Colts +1.5 here. They are at home as well, so I feel like a lot of people might like the Texans, and I feel like this is a good spot to take a home dog.
Well, and, Noah Brown's also already been ruled out.
Yeah.
So that wide receiving core is I mean it just got thinner, Um, and I think too I'm with you guys on the Colts. And I think Minshew brings like that veteran experience, but also I think Jonathan Taylor has continued to like just kind of ramp up the workload again since getting back. And I think this is a game they can continue to lean on him. The Colt, I mean, the Colts have a ton of playmakers too. I mean, with Michael Pittman, Josh Downs, Downs and Minshew seem to have a really great connection.
Alec
Uh,
Pierce, Minshew loves Alec
yeah,
Pierce
yeah,
downfield.
Yeah, he had a deep ball TD last week, right?
Yeah,
Um,
Zach Moss is back as well, I believe.
yep.
This kid.
So they're just like when you compare the rosters, like with where they're at right now from a health perspective, the Colts just have so much more depth and so many more weapons. And there's a
Mm.
lot more that I think they have the ability to do on the offensive side of the ball. Um, so yeah, and it also just feels like a game to me where, the Texans lose, they don't make the playoffs, and it's just a sign of like they're not quite ready, but I think they're gonna go into the offseason and head into next season when they get back to full health with like people are gonna be really, really excited about the potential of this Texans team, but it's like this isn't their time, you know. It's just not. They're not ready. And even if they make the postseason, I mean, they're going to be a one and done. I don't see how they beat anybody in the playoffs. I really don't with where they're at. So,
yeah. I think
uh,
it's just one of those like you were talking about with the roster. It's like the Texans. They're probably going to be the trendy pick, like C.J. Stroud, Rookie of the Year. I know months ago we were talking, laughing at the MVP buzz that he was starting to get, and I think that people are going to want to see that. And then the Colts maybe come in and just blow them out at home, and it's like we look at the roster and we're like, oh yeah, that seems pretty obvious in hindsight. So I feel like that's one of those where like the squares jump on the Texans, and then all of a sudden you're like 2 quarters in, you're like, oh boy, this is never going to even be close.
yep.
Mm. Damn.
Um,
So that was the last pick of the year?
Yeah.
that's the last pick. By the way,
Damn.
I don't know. Maybe I haven't been paying enough attention. Crazy to me. CJ Stroud -850 to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. Puka Nakua +420. Laporta is
Pretty good
plus
number.
1,000.
Maybe we should do it. I've been thinking the same thing. I was kind of looking around the other day, and I kind of had the same thought. It's like, I mean, if CJ Stroud comes in and lays another stinker,
I
we could be looking
and
at it different. I mean, Puka's not going to
we're
play this
talking.
week, I don't think.
Yeah, I know, which is a bummer too, because
So
I
he's not
think.
going to break the records, which doesn't help him.
But at the same time, like you can't deny the season that he's had. He's been
No.
unbelievable. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and I mean, the thing is too, like the odds, like they aren't a reflection of voter sentiment. Like that is
Yeah.
mostly just run by the public. I mean, my favorite example is when Aaron Rodgers had that comment. He was like out golfing. I don't know if he was at like a pro am or if it was when he was doing like the match or something, but somebody mentioned, about Devontae Adams being in Vegas. Oh, you should go play with him. And he's like, tell Devontae to buy me a house. And then all of a sudden, the Raiders became the favorite to sign Aaron Rodgers. And people are talking about it like it's a legit report.
Yeah.
It's like that's like we can trace it back to like this is the source. Like that is all that it came from. If you
Yeah.
listen to that and you hear like, oh, I'm definitely going to the Raiders, like I don't know what to tell you. So I mean, like it's really not voter sentiment. So it's like I mean, like the voters could feel that way about Puka and just be like, this was a crazy season for a fifth round pick. Um, yeah, it's kind of like with Marvin Harrison as the first pick. It's worth sprinkling on, I think. I mean, maybe it's not as crazy of odds as you'd hope, but it's still 4-1.
4-1. Yeah. I mean, look, like Stroud, you look at Stroud's total body of work. He's he's sixth in passer rating in the NFL. He's ninth in yards, and that's factoring in that he's missed 2 games. So I mean, even if he threw for, let's say, an average of 250 in each of those games, all of a sudden, like he's probably second in passing yards. So, in 21 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, like the body of work's there. But for some reason, I'm also like, I don't know, like this is an 8-7 team, but you look at like Puka Nacua and, you go to the receiving leaders for the league. And this guy is
Pro Bowler.
2 yards behind AJ Brown for the third most receiving yards in the entire NFL. And I'm just,
Yeah,
I don't,
I think he'd only need it's only like 3 or 4 receptions and like 60 yards to break the rookie records. But I mean, he's not playing this week. But
yeah,
it's like if he was, I mean, that's extremely gettable, especially for him based on literally everything he's done in these past
absolutely.
16 games.
Yeah. Eighth, tied for eighth in receptions, fourth in yards. Like I said, two behind AJ Brown. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy to me that like there's that big of a gap. I just, maybe like the just Stroud being out for a couple weeks with the concussion, just kind of made me forget about him a little bit. But I just saw that and like that just kind of shocked me a little bit. I don't know. So
Yeah.
anyway. All right. So let's see. Let's recap the picks. So we got for week 18. All right, I'm on the Steelers -4. Um, Bowen, you were on the Titans +3.5. Kiernan's on the Jets +1.5. We got the Dolphins +3 on Sunday night, and then our Monday night game, which is being played on Saturday night, we're taking the Colts +1.
5-0. Need it.
Need it.
Let's it,
Literally never.
it would be fitting if we go 5-0 in week 18 to not just finally break the 500 barrier, but actually exceed it and finish the season 1 game over.
I was
So
gonna. I actually think fitting would be 4-1, and we just end up at
4-1 would
for
be
all
would be
this.
very.
Truly, the most fitting would be
After all this, we just ended up at 500. I think
You
that
know
would
what?
be the most fitting.
You know what it'll be is we'll be 3-1 going into the Sunday night game, the Bills and the Dolphins, with a 3-point line, and it will be a field goal game, and we'll get a push. That's
Yeah.
what.
Yeah. Damn.
That is definitely what will happen. So,
But I can't wait for that. That's going to be hilarious.
Oh, that'd be great.
I'll text Jose too. I'll find out what his picks are this week, but I know I was texting you guys, I think last night or the other night, but Jose is 1.5 points out. He's right now tied for second. If he has another awful week, he could get the booby prize, which is
Crazy.
remarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we'll see what I think it pays.
Good
Like
luck to him.
he could get $50,000,
That's
which is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So we'll see what happens. I asked him what he's doing. He said he's going to be watching the game by himself on his couch. So, like, I'm
And
going to
it's
be.
just him on the buy-in. It's just solely he's the
I
winner.
I think his brother buys in with him. I
Yeah.
know he has in the past. Like his brother's been a silent partner with us before.
Mhm.
So I'm assuming he's probably doing the same. Where his brother, I don't know if his brother's actually making any picks, but I think at the very least his brother buys in with him. So,
Cool.
but
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah, good luck.
I'll hit him up. I'm gonna probably hit him up Saturday morning after he's submitted his picks and just ask him to send me his card. So, but all right. Bowen, congrats on Sahith.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a big one.
That it's a huge hit.
Massive. It was just one of those. Looked at the board, saw who was playing where, saw he just jumped. I mean, I probably took him at the worst time. Just ripping
Hey,
off 330s and then hopping in, but
hey, a
it is what
winning
it
bet
is.
is a winning bet is a winning bet.
I love this course too. Fun course to bet on. Or
The scores,
like four par five.
these guys go so low. Like Cam Smith won this tournament at like 34 under
It's
a couple
crazy.
of years ago. I think Rom was like 33. It's nuts. I mean,
Just
they
so
just
many, so many like eagle opportunities. Just
round after round, these guys are just putting up crazy numbers, you know?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, but root for Camilo Villegas.
Yeah.
It's the guy this
Yeah.
weekend. That would be incredible if I actually win my first week in this pool after joining after the draft took
He's
place.
got a good story too. He's got
Great
a great
story.
story.
Yeah, lost his daughter a couple years ago, I think, and
And then he won recently, right?
yeah, yeah, he had been knocking on the door too. He was like contending in a couple tournaments, and then he kind of yeah, he put it all together. But
That must have been in the fall session or whatever that was,
yeah, he was
right?
doing he won during the fall. I think he won like the Butterfield Championship or something like that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Crazy story. But yeah. No, he was balling today. So he had the collar popped and everything. He was locked in. So
Yeah, feeling the flow.
yeah. Yeah.
All
Yep.
right. Well, I'll get these picks in. And yeah, positive vibes only.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All right.
sir.
See you
Peace,
guys.
guys.
all right.
All
See you guys next year.
right. Yeah, see you next year. I'll see you in Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Later.